Exclusive, top developer of a secret Ukrainian weapon destroying Russian rear airfields full of fighter jets, tell us how Ukrainians made Russians suck a bag of cardboard dicks. Such exclusive content is definitely worthy of your like of this video and subscription to the channel. Every bag of dicks in the Russian mouth will be followed with a truck, a wagon, and a cargo ship of cocks. Suck a bag of dicks. That's the name of the Ukraine's Defense Forces' recent operation. Mysterious drones made of aviation cardboard attacked the airfield in Kursk and damaged 4 Su-30 aircrafts, 1 MiG-29, as well as the S-300 anti-aircraft missile complex. The operation was carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine Military Counterintelligence together with the Russian Volunteer Corps fighting on the side of Ukraine in the deep rear of the enemy. Russian Volunteer Corps is happy to announce yet another successful assault conducted jointly with the Security Service of Ukraine Military Counterintelligence in the Kursk region. Having crossed the leaky border yet again without any resistance, on the night of August 27th, we carried out a drone strike on a military object, an airfield with Putin's vultures. All intended targets were destroyed. So, cardboard drones for about $1,000 a piece have destroyed tens of millions of dollars worth of equipment. Yes, that's right, said the Ukrainians and clapped their hands with delight. Сука, блять, это че ты заебал, said the Russians, and began to complain and shrug. It is invisible for the radars. It is made of radio-transparent composite materials, cardboard and sticks. The anti-aircraft missile complex might not even notice it, and this trend is increasing. The stuff that was brought to our studio more than once was made of foam plastic. Russkies immediately began spreading the word that Kursk has been hit by cardboard drones produced by the Australian company SYPAQ that had previously been delivered to Ukraine.
A high-tech weapon made with low-tech components, waxed cardboard and rubber bands, but with military-grade guidance system.
However, it soon turned out that these were not Australian drones but Ukrainian ones, made out of songs and second most melodic language in the world, grown on our rich Chernozem among marigolds from Ukrainian poems. The Security Service of Ukraine released the videos of these drones being tested and showed the principle of their operation, and now we know that our cardboard kamikazes have been in business for a long time.
This platform has been in development for almost a year, and this is not its first use. It is not one completed aircraft for a certain size. It is a set of technologies that can be implemented for different tasks, different dimensions, sizes, and for different payloads.
A representative of the company that developed the drones agreed to give an exclusive comment about this project to the Ukrainian Toronto Television. For obvious reasons, we hid their face and changed their voice. In short, the prospects of the cardboard drones are inspiring.
For us, it was just another test of possibilities, not final in order to, let's say, secure certain results. And addressing the Russian experts who consider this tool as a finished product, I want to say that this is only the beginning, only the initial test version. There's more to come.
Ukrainian Cardboard Avenger is practically silent because it runs an electric motor. The attack on the airfield in Kursk shows that it can cover significant distances and hit targets in the deep rear of the Russians.
If we talk about speed, altitude and so on, not all of this is revealed, but it doesn't affect the performance and may change in the next iteration.
One of the key advantages of this drone is that it is virtually invisible to Russian air defense radars.
First, there are questions about the Russian air defense forces, which, only according to legend, are all-powerful. They are unable to see this aircraft just because of the radio transparency of most of its elements. The wave that should be reflected from the aircraft if it was the usual carbon or aircraft-grade aluminium or even fiberglass, the wave should reflect from the surface and return, so to speak, to the radar. Some of our materials either completely let this wave pass through, or we mask the elements that cannot be made radio-transparent using stealth technology.
The means of radio-electronic warfare against these Ukrainian drones are also powerless, as it doesn't need a GPS signal to reach and hit the target.
Indeed, the main thing that worries the experts on the other side is that electronic warfare cannot counter the aircraft. And it is true, we do not reveal all the technical nuances, but you really don't need a GPS signal for the successful assault. We can no longer, let's put it this way, deny that the assault aircrafts were the only type of aircraft that took the part in this operation, which Russians write about, but we will not reveal the details yet.
The first satellite images after the explosions at the Kursk airfield made some skeptics yell out, where are the traces of damage? Where are the black holes from explosions that scattered pieces of Russian planes? Well, the answer is easy. It's because of the specifics of the ammunition.
I think that Facebook experts expected that the cardboard plane was bringing FOB 200, FOB 500 aviation bombs to Kursk, and that the next day there would be visible funnels on the airfield, but unfortunately, so far, we cannot carry such payload, but the warhead that was used in this mission fulfilled its task completely. The specificity is that the result of such action can be seen only while literally being at the impact location, because the openings from such small striking elements, well, you definitely won't see them from a satellite.
According to the developer, the ammunition works the same way as some models of missiles for HIMARS. Striking elements are balls made of tungsten carbide, which is twice as heavy and 10 times stronger than steel. The ammunition explodes not from contact with the surface, but above the target, covering the affected areas with these balls.
This is one of the exhibits of our personal museum, basically reusable steel plate, 3.5mm thick, on which we tested various variants of warheads for several months. While preparing this operation, we predicted working against aviation aluminium, and for us striking through such a plate meant having a huge margin. You see, there are holes made by the tungsten carbide.
So the carbon drones quietly flew in and made many holes in Russian planes.
The damage is done from top to bottom, and neither anti-drone nets nor trenches, nothing can protect the target. We are not talking about dozens or hundreds, but about 1,000 striking elements in the case of an exact impact. Imagine a plane in which there are lots of through holes from top to bottom to the ground, and there are thousands of these holes. Inside the plane there is electrical equipment, electronics, wiring, various mechanical elements, while in short, after such hit, in most cases, the planes cannot be restored.
By the way, not only Russian propagandists, but also the Western media began to fan the hype about the fact that the successful attack on the Kursk airfield was carried out by the Australian SYPAQ PPDS carbon drones.
Ukraine is fielding a cardboard-based drone against Russia. Created by the Australian company SYPAQ, it's called the Corvo.
As our interview claims, both those groups simply know nothing. The Australian drone is not capable of performing such complex tasks.
I have to say, I'm a little disappointed I didn't buy SYPAQ shares a few days before our performance. Our aircraft has no connection and nothing to do with Australia. I know very well what SYPAQ PPDS is. That is, we have studied this aircraft, and let's say people who know about it, who worked with it, understand that that aircraft is not up to such tasks. As far as I understand, Ukraine doesn't have permission to use Australian-made aid on the territory of Russian Federation, and if our partners from the West are worried about this, then they definitely shouldn't, because as I said, this is a pure Ukrainian product.
Of course, we will not show what Ukrainian carbon drones look like for security reasons, you know. Russkies don't need to know about this, as they are already thinking what to do with them. For example, after the recent attacks on Russian rear airfields, as can be seen from satellite images, Russia began stacking tires on top of the airplanes. Will this protect them from damage, and why do they do it anyway?
Maybe their planes are blown away by the wind. This is one of the reasons. Maybe that's how they press them to the ground, because a sane person would hardly think of protecting anything from tungsten carbide with rubber tires. Although maybe someone thinks that it works, because in fact I have seen many times in the Russian online channels that they're also trying to protect themselves with tires from HIMARS missile fragments. But it won't work, because in our tests, at least, tires are constantly present in the impact areas and are broken through.
Of course, everyone in Ukraine dreams of our drones flying as far as possible, deep into the territory of Russia. So the question from the couch arises by itself: can a Ukrainian carbon drone fly to Moscow and, for example, knock on the door of the Kremlin?
I will quote the Russian volunteer corps: while the Russian border is all leaky, it is easier to bring these planes closer to the targets. This is not the first time when, let's say, an operation was carried out with the involvement of agents there on the spot in the Russian Federation.
Another important question is, how can we scale up the production of these cheap and efficient drones in Ukraine?
From the side, it always seems like simply increasing the amount of reduction will give a greater result, but in fact, the effectiveness of such operations consists of 70% planning, application, tactics, and preparation. That is today's production capable of producing hundreds of thousands of drones? No, it's not, but it is capable of producing as much as needed to be effectively used. Yes, and even more.
And preempting your fears, are we now revealing some huge secrets? What if some Russian suddenly subscribes to Ukrainian Toronto Television, which you totally should if you're not Russian? You should do that. Please, right now, stop and subscribe to our channel.
In fact, almost everything that we are talking about now, the enemy is aware of. The enemy is now actively discussing it in their online groups. It is not a secret for them. It has already been revealed, and most importantly, that we are talking about now has no value for them except self-humiliation. Well, in general, I like to analyze specialized groups, don't waste time on rereading Z-Patriots and couch experts of theirs. As for the real experts, all of this brings them into some serious apathy. That is, they understand and admit that there is nothing they can do about many decisions, neither today nor in the future.
So while Russia is burning, Ukrainians will throw more cardboard into the fire.